Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be fun. In today's video, I'm testing out the newly released Mega STARMIE in the Mega Master League. I've powered it up all the way to level 50, I've maxed out Mega level to level 4, so we'll be at level 52 for these battles. Now, I do have an unobtainable Legacy Quick Attack STARMIE that is maxed, but unfortunately, unobtainable Legacy Quick Attack is quite a bit worse than Psywave, so I actually maxed a second Hundo STARMIE so we can test it out and see how it performs. Now, the Mega Master League doesn't officially return for a week, so these are going to be Mega Master League practice battles against viewers just like you. One quick note before we hop into the Mega STARMIE action. If you do enjoy content like this, please make sure to leave a like on the video and double check and make sure you're subscribed. My analytics tell me a lot of people who watch the videos aren't actually subscribed, so double check, make sure you're subscribed, and without further ado, let's hop into it. We move to game number 1 and pick up a very strong lead, Mega STARMIE into Zacian, and right off the bat, Mega STARMIE's attack animation is absolutely hilarious. Once Mega STARMIE was announced, I already fell in love with the design, but my goodness, the attack animation in Pokemon Go is just simply way too funny. The good news is Mega STARMIE walls off Zacian's moveset. They can go for the Behemoth Blade, that's not going to be a problem, and now I can overfarm massively before looking to take the knockout with Aqua Jet. With Aqua Jet, Mega STARMIE has 10 turn pacing, Zacian is going to fall, and in comes Mega Mewtwo Y. Mega Mewtwo Y, in my eyes, is the best Pokemon in the Mega Master League, and that's why this team I have a Yveltal. Yveltal should be a very strong answer to Mega Mewtwo Y if they're not running Thunderbolt or Ice Beam. My opponent pivots out upon seeing Yveltal in the back. They have Kyurem White, and with alignment secured thanks to Mega STARMIE, this game should be a win. Fusion Flare will hit for devastating damage onto Zacian, but importantly, Zacian can always hang on here and never be Dragon Breath down after. So now I can just fire off the close combat. They're going to end up no shielding, and I should be able to make it to the Behemoth. The Behemoth Blade would have been reached. That's going to force out energy from the Mewtwo. And with shields to hide behind and the ability to buff up my defense with Oblivion Wing, Yveltal should be able to close out the game. I really don't want to end up losing the game to no shielding a Thunderbolt or an Ice Beam. I absolutely respect Mega Mewtwo Y's attack stats, so I put up the shield just to find out they're actually on double Legacy. They're on Psystrike and Shadow Ball. They're completely walled off. Oblivion Wing lands, Yveltal farms down, and that's a good game. Unfortunately, it's bad news in game number 2 as Mega Mewtwo Y is back for revenge. Mega STARMIE has a truly unplayable matchup into Mega Mewtwo Y. Even if you're up a shield, you end up losing. So I save switch into Zacian. But Zacian, to be honest, is not doing much better. That Shadow Ball nearly picked up the one-hit KO, and they can shield the Behemoth Blade, and I'm getting shredded by the Psycho Cuts. However, my opponent does fire off energy. I'm a little bit worried that they could have farmed me down if they didn't throw there, so I'm very happy they throw energy. And now I can bring in Yveltal. Yveltal should force a save switch out. They bring in Zacian, but now I can bring in the STARMIE. And STARMIE just has a dominant matchup here because you resist everything Zacian can throw, and I should be able to pick up the 2-hit knockout with the Aqua Jets. These Psywaves actually do a surprising amount of damage onto the Zacian, and now I can unleash Aqua Jet number 1. The first Aqua Jet is going to be no-shielded by the Zacian. I can overfarm, fire off Aqua Jet number 2 right before they're able to make their next move. This Aqua Jet is also going to be no-shielded. Zacian is going to fall, and their final Pokemon in the back is going to be Reshiram. I bank a little bit of energy, send in Yveltal, and Yveltal is going to have to shield up the Fusion Flare. When my opponent makes a brilliant play, they know I'm shielding, they go for the crunch, and they actually get the defense drop. That is such an intelligent play there from my opponent. I Oblivion Wing, they no-shield, they're leaving it all up to Mega Mewtwo Y. Mega Mewtwo Y will be able to inflict some pretty sizable damage here with Psystrike and Shadow Ball just because my defense is actually not boosted. Due to that crunch debuff, the Oblivion Wing only put me back to normal. I'm not at +1. I can now put my defense up to +1 with the Oblivion Wing, and I decide that I'm going to be no-shielding. But look at how much of a beast Mega Mewtwo Y is. They land the Shadow Ball into a +1 of Yveltal. They farm down. I bring in the STARMIE. STARMIE farms down. We have the Aqua Jet loaded, and we're going to survive. Leading STARMIE into Mega Mewtwo Y felt like a death sentence. It felt like there was no way out, but STARMIE takes the knockout and secures the win. We move to the next match, seeing a very familiar lead, and a very welcome lead at that, as we lead into the Zacian. This matchup, very, very nice for the STARMIE. I'm able to land the Aqua Jet, they save switch into Lunala, and I have a very strong answer with Yveltal. However, I'm a little bit worried that this could be a bait out to try and set up Mega Mewtwo Y. If there's a Mega Mewtwo Y in the back, I'm getting swept unless I keep the Yveltal around. So I end up shielding the Moonblast and fully farming down, but back in comes the Zacian, and Zacian is obviously not going to get knocked out here by an Oblivion Wing. I probably should have run Focus Blast on a Veltal. Dark Pulse didn't really feel like it had any value, but I will end up double shielding, because if it is going to be that Mega Mewtwo Y in the back, I feel like having a very heavily boosted Veltal will probably work out well for me. I'm already at +1, I can move my defense up to +2 in the back. That is a weird looking Mega Mewtwo Y. It's going to be Mega Gyarados, but Gyarados doesn't throw right away, instead letting me get up a third Oblivion Wing. This is really nice. At +3 defense, these Aqua Tails are probably going to be doing absolutely no damage onto a Veltal. So they can fire off an Aqua Tail, that's going to land, and look at that, a Veltal tanks it like it's nothing. I think I can even survive a second Aqua Tail here. It's going to be very, very close. The Aqua Tail is going to land, a Veltal barely clinging to life, 1 HP remaining, but we survive, and we make it to the Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing forces the shield, I can send in Zacian, and the damage is done. Even though I had to go down 2 shields to 0, a Veltal was just able to boost and boost and boost its way out of it. We're able to get both shields back, and then Zacian's 0 shield matchups are just undeniable. Close combat connects, Mega Gyarados falls, and we're able to get the win. We move to the next game, picking up a pretty awkward lead, leading STARMIE into Eternatus. Obviously, our Psywaves hit for super effective, but our charge attacks are walled, and I'm able to get a catch and sneak onto the Zacian. We catch the Dynamax cannon where it's triple resisted, and in comes Lunala. Being up a little bit of energy is quite nice for the Zacian. I'm going to unleash Behemoth Blade, and my opponent is going to be no shielding. They know they can always survive that no problem, and I'm going to try and look for the full farm down. Unfortunately, it looks like my opponent will be able to survive even the next Metal Claw as well. We're basically both on 1 HP, and it ends up being a CMP tie as we both fire off our move. Close combat will take the knockout, and I decide that I don't want to give the farm down. Instead, I'm just going to get aggressive and pivot into the Starmie. Even though Starmie's energy is walled, these Psywaves are adding up onto Eternatus. Unfortunately, I can't really Psywave them into a range where Aqua Jet would KO because I'm already at 100. So, since I'm at energy cap, I may as well fire off the Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet is going to land onto Eternatus in the back. Oh no, we have lost the game. It is Mega Tyranitar. I don't have Focus Blast on my Veltal, which means I am in so much trouble. I have no ability to damage the Tyranitar. And if you look at the combat power difference between a level 52 Mega Starmie and a level 50 Mega Tyranitar, there's like 2,000 combat power of difference. So even if I landed Aqua Jet, that's definitely not one-shotting. I send in a Veltal. This Tyranitar is on Fire Blast. That does way too much damage. They end up making a catch of the Oblivion Wing onto Eternatus, but even the Oblivion Wing would have basically done no damage onto the Tyranitar. So now they're going to get a big farm down with the Tyranitar. They exit with a ton of energy. Starmie should make the Aqua Jet here on the CMP tie, but unfortunately it's just too little too late. What we're about to witness here is just the pure difference of stat products between Mega Tyranitar and Mega Starmie. Super effective Aqua Jet, Tyranitar tanks it like it's nothing. Tyranitar Dragon Breath down the Starmie, Dragon Breath down the Zacian as well, and we just get fully swept. We move to the next match, Mega Starmie into Xerneas. Now, Mega Starmie will have a pretty nice pacing advantage here, every 10 turns spamming on Aqua Jet. But unfortunately, Aqua Jet is pretty survivable. Xerneas is able to hang on, and I don't know how well I tank the Moonblast. I'm going to be no shielding for science. Moonblast connects. Oh no, Starmie gets rocked. The good news is I can throw 5 Psywaves, take advantage of the new damage registration error mechanic. Aqua Jet is going to connect, Xerneas gets KO'd, and I'm able to win the lead. And the fact that my opponent has Mega Mewtwo Y, very happy we were able to win the lead. In the back is going to be Kyogre. I bank an Oblivion Wing, and then bring in Zacian. I know at this point of the game, the win con is going to be a Veltal. However, I still don't really want to take an Origin Pulse or a Thunder on the Zacian, so I decide that I will put up the shield. From here, I can just spam out Behemoth Blades. Even if my opponent ends up no-shielding, the Sucker Punch damage has done a ton of damage onto the Kyogre already. Kyogre is now already into the yellow. Kyogre overfarms just slightly too much, and that lets me make the close combat. This close combat being reached, the game was already probably over, but now it's definitely over. They bring in the Mewtwo, and I can bring back in a Veltal. This might have been the only time I actually threw Dark Pulse, and look at this, Dark Pulse doesn't even knock out. That's how bulky Mega Mewtwo Y is. The stat product on this thing is just absurd. They fire off the Side Strike. I'm able to tank that very comfortably, and I will get that farm down. Back in comes Kyogre. That's going to be a charge attack priority tie. Kyogre is going to win it, but with a shield to hide behind, protecting a Veltal from the avalanche. Now I get to hit back hard with Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing lands, Kyogre falls, and we weren't able to win Switch advantage by much on the lead, but winning Switch definitely won the game for us. We pick up a pretty bad lead in the next match, Starmie into Palkia. I'm going to farm up 14 Psywaves, switch into the Zacian, and catch a potential triple resistant Spatial Rend. It is going to be the Spatial Rend. That is a massive catch, but out comes Mega Mewtwo X. This team is very, very weak to Mega Mewtwo X. Unfortunately, it feels like in the Mega Master League, you can try and cover yourself against Mega Mewtwo X or Y. I assumed Y would be more common, so that's why I put a Veltal on the team, but I am just triple weak to Mega Mewtwo X. So we are in a very rough spot. I can bring in the Starmie. Starmie will be able to fire off the Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet will get a shield off the Mega Mewtwo X, but I still feel like I am in an incredible amount of danger. I will put up the shield, respecting a Shadow Ball, but they will just go for the Psy Strike. I believe this is only another Psy Strike, but Psy Strike from Mega Mewtwo X might genuinely knock out from here, so I will put up the shield. They're going to pivot out, sending in the Palkia. I'm going to bank a ton of energy and then bring in a Veltal as they fire off a move. This should only be the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail really not going to do a lot onto a Veltal, and now it's just going to be a race. Can I make it to the Oblivion Wing? Unfortunately, I'm not able to do so. I can't quite get there. I want to try and leave myself as low as possible here to not give them farm, so I throw 3, go for the Oblivion Wing, but my counts were off by 1, and I play to a CMP tie that I do not win. That's very bad news for me. I can bring in the Starmie. They're going to reveal their final Pokemon in the back is going to be Zacian. Zacian should get knocked out here by triple Aqua Jet. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to get the Psy Waves to where Aqua Jet would 2-hit KO. I cannot afford to take any additional charge attacks, so I fire off the back-to-back Aqua Jets, but in doing so, I just don't have the energy that I would need to win this game. My opponent has a guaranteed win condition, and that's bringing in the Mewtwo. Mewtwo can just counter down my 4 Mega Starmie, and we will take the loss. We get a terrible lead in the next match, Mega Starmie into Mega Garchomp. This is another matchup where unfortunately the stat product difference between the two Megas is very, very obvious. My opponent will put up the shield, I farm up, get the catch and sneak onto a Veltal, and I have to hope that this is the Earth Power. Bad news for me, that's a Twister that still does some pretty considerable damage, and out comes Zacian. This is where having access to Focus Blast would genuinely be very helpful on a Veltal, but unfortunately I am not running it. I decide that I will put up the Protect Shield as my opponent actually goes for a close combat. They were expecting a no shield, so they just wanted to save some energy, but in doing so, now they have a very heavily debuffed defense stat. That's very okay by me. I can just let this go and go for a nasty Psy Wave down with Mega Starmie. They're now at -4 defense, which means these Psy Waves are about to look super effective. My opponent pivots out, they save the Zacian, and in comes the Garchomp. I no shield calling the bait, they go for the Twister, that still almost picks up the 1-hit KO, and I feel like I'm in an incredible amount of danger. Even if I land the Aqua Jet's not going to do a lot of damage. Like, look at that. That just really does not do enough, and my opponent's always going to make double Earth Power into the Zacian. At this point, unfortunately, this game is over. We have just been swept by the Mega Garchomp. There's only one win condition, call the bait. I no shield, it's the Twister, and we might be right back in this. My opponent pivots out into the Zacian trying for a catch, but they just get farmed down. In the back is going to be Dawn Wings Necrozma, and now I actually think I win this game. Behemoth Blade connects, huge damage out of the Dawn Wings. This is not Lunala. Dawn Wings, it's going to be too much energy to make it to the Moongeist. I'm able to make Behemoth Blade number 2. That's going to be knocking out Dawn Wings. No energy was ever thrown, and back in comes the Chomp, and Chomp is just going to get Metal Clawed down. We call a devastating triple resisted Twister bait, and that completely flipped the game for us. We move to the next match, picking up a very nice lead, leading Starmie into Zacian. My opponent save switches into Eternatus, and here, unfortunately, I was predicting they were going to throw one more Dragon Tail before firing off the Dynamax Cannon. So I save a ton of energy, bring in Zacian, and Zacian should do quite well here. Zacian can no shield, Flamethrower, not really going to be too much of a problem, and then I'm going to throw 4 Metal Claws and then fire off the Behemoth. So I will look to overfarm, and then I realize I've made a massive error. I miscounted. My opponent has the Flamethrower. I get KO'd. All the energy goes down the drain. And I just probably completely threw away this game. I get the full farm down with a Veltal, but I do not know my Eternatus residuals, and that might end up costing me dearly. I send back in the Starmie, fire off the Aqua Jet just to desync the switch timers. In the back is a Mega Gengar. Oh, this would have been the freest win of my entire life if I just threw the Behemoth Blade on the Zacian. We had them fully hard countered, but unfortunately, that's not going to amount to anything. I lost switch advantage. I did not keep track of the energy, and now this Gengar is about to absolutely destroy me. Sludge Bomb from Gengar would do devastating damage, so I will put up the shield. Just a shield, a Drain Punch. Oh, you've got to be joking me. And they're able to make a last-second charge stack here. Is this going to be the Sludge Bomb now? No, it's not. It's the Shadow Ball, but I survived the Shadow Ball. Wait, can I actually make the back-to-back Oblivion Wings? If I can, there's a very real chance I win the game. Oblivion Wing is going to land. I make Oblivion Wing number 2. It all comes down to this. If this KOs, we somehow still got the win. Oblivion Wing lands, but it's a 1 HP survive. Oh my goodness, we almost brought it back, but we could not escape our mistakes, and we will lose that game. We move to the final match, and my opponent is breaking out the Spice Cabinet as we lead Mega Starmie into Mega Houndoom. This is more of a Mega that's more so on the same power level as STARMIE. Obviously, very similar combat power, and you can see that in a matchup with very similar combat power, STARMIE should actually do quite well. Houndoom can go for the foul play, but STARMIE is always going to be able to outpace here just because of this 10-turn pacing, and unfortunately, Snarl is a pretty spectacularly terrible fast move. Houndoom no shields and pays a devastating price, and now my opponent is going to look to bring in Reshiram. But Reshiram is still going to be taking some pretty considerable damage here. The Psywave adds up, the Aqua Jet will add up as well, and I'm more than happy just to keep shielding the STARMIE because I know their Mega is already out of the way. I'm going to try and get as much value out of this STARMIE as I can possibly get. So I put up the shield, Reshiram goes for the Fusion Flare, and now I can fire off another Aqua Jet. I imagine this won't take the knockout, but it should put the Reshiram pretty low. So Aqua Jet is going to land, the pivot out, in the back is Rhyperior. Rhyperior tries for the farm down, but they don't get there. Mega STARMIE on a rampage, Aqua Jet, one-hit KO. Back in comes the Reshiram, and in that position, my opponent resigned the match. All in all, I ended up having a ton of fun getting to test out Mega STARMIE. Its attack animation is one of the most ridiculous things I have ever seen. It honestly feels like they really did this Mega evolution justice. Like, my goodness, it is an incredibly odd design, but I do find it pretty endearing overall. I really like the fact that it's this weird humanoid alien. If you put it as your best buddy while it's Mega evolved, and then you end up like driving as a passenger in the car, it kind of just like runs after you along the highway, which is very funny to see. So it's definitely a very goofy Mega evolution. As far as play in the Mega Master League goes, honestly, I do feel like that it outkicked its coverage quite a bit, considering that it is only about 4,200 combat power at level 52. But even despite that, this is a meta that is run by Mega Mewtwo Y. Mega Mewtwo Y and Mega Mewtwo X are far and away the best Mega evolutions that you can use, and that's simply because they have amazing stats and amazing moves. STARMIE actually has some pretty good moves. Psywave plus Aqua Jet is a great start to a moveset, but unfortunately, it's the stats where it just really can't compete. The fact that even though it resists Behemoth Blade, it still takes that much damage from a Behemoth is a little bit crazy. It does beat Zacian pretty convincingly, but my goodness, I was not prepared for Behemoth to hit quite that hard. As far as my choice of secondary charge attack on STARMIE, I think that Thunder may have been a mistake. I was just very worried about Primal Kyogre because my back two Pokemon get obliterated by Primal Kyogre. So I wanted to have a move where if I led into Primal Kyogre, I could at least threaten super effective damage, potentially get some good damage on the board to soften it up where maybe a Veltal could farm it down later on, or at the very least start pulling away Protect Shields, but I never ran into any Primal Kyogre, so Thunder unfortunately really didn't do a whole lot for me overall, so maybe Power Gem would have worked a little bit better, but either way, it was a very, very fun Pokemon to run. I really like Mega Master League, but unfortunately, this is definitely not a Mega Pokemon that I would recommend using if you care about your elo, because even though I was able to get a lot of wins with it, it definitely felt like the backline was putting in a lot of the legwork there, and I kind of had to try and outplay in a lot of games and really try and play very precisely because STARMIE was not providing a lot of competitive advantage. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And an extra special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide to the channel is so appreciated, so thank you guys so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.